Nice.
Tuesday, January 12th. We're already 12 days in to 2021. With me today, Chad Cleese, Michelle Charles. Welcome back. I know you were out last time we did our live stream. Hope you had a great break. We've got a few things I want to talk about, so we'll get right into that. And the first one is we are going to be rolling out a new admin account on all the Macs. Actually, we're currently rolling that out right now. So for those who pay attention, if you were to log into your computer today, or if you were to go into your system preferences and look at the list of users, you would see an FC Tech account. That is our Forget Computers account that we use when we need to provide support to you and we need to authenticate. You have your own account, we have our account, and typically your internal team, whether it's your leadership or your IT, they have their own account. So with our move and integration with Ntiva, we are replacing the FC Tech account with an NT Tech account for Ntiva. And I'll just share my screen and show you exactly what that looks like. Let's see. Entire screen share.
We had a couple clients even call it out this week and get in touch, and we love it. We love it when folks notice things and ask. There are never any stupid or silly questions.
Yeah,
we love silly questions, actually.
So this is the photograph that I took of my login screen, and you can see I have my account. We've got the Forget Computers account, which is the FC Tech account I mentioned. That's the short name, FC Tech. And then we've got the Ntiva account with the short name NT Tech. And this is actually the screen that almost everyone will see. I mean, you'll see a different background, possibly. When you first boot up your computer, which I know a lot of us don't do these days, we don't shut down or even restart as often as we used to, but it is still good practice to restart periodically. Once a week is a good rhythm. More than once a month, that's pushing it. Once a day is probably excessive. You probably don't need to do it once a day. But at this screen, this is actually the file vault screen, meaning I have to provide, it says Touch ID requires your password when Mac restarts. So I cannot use Touch ID. I have to actually select an account, type in a password. So this is a long-winded way of saying you will see this Ntiva account. We have to create it before we can remove and delete our account. But you don't need to worry about it. It is supposed to be there. Kudos to those who noticed it and contacted us and said, hey, is this legit?
Yep.
And it is.
Exactly right. Yep.
So let your team know about it if anyone asks, and certainly if anyone has any questions, bring them to our attention. So I want to make sure everyone was aware of that. And then as we segue, as a comment about security, I want to mention we use PII Protect for our security awareness training. Now, to be fair, Chad actually does custom security awareness training for a lot of our clients, and we supplement that with PII Protect. And the nice thing about PII Protect is it's an online platform. You can share these videos with your entire team, no matter when you hire someone throughout the year. Part of the onboarding process really should be that they complete the security awareness training online before they're fully onboarded, meaning part of the onboarding process is they watch these videos. They should have, what do you think, Chad, a week, a few weeks to get this completed?
Well, every client we work with is different. Some allow them 30 days. Some only allow them a week. So it really depends on your culture. It should be, complement. I don't want to necessarily give people a negative impression of this, because this is for their own good. We want them to feel good about this stuff. And sometimes we don't get, our first impressions. And so whatever you feel is fair and equitable. If possible, it's nice to do this on the day that you're onboarding and kind of walk them through. It doesn't take long. It's like a half an hour.
Right.
And so it's just a great way to establish a baseline with folks that, supplements are in person, our customized trainings, later on in the year. We try to do those twice a year. Compliance is really dictating that schedule, right? It's not something we think is good or anybody else. It's just really compliance rules and regulations. And so twice a year is good. And to put that half an hour in with folks right away, it's really worth it. But if that's not reasonable, or possible for your organization, there are other ways to do it for sure.
Yeah. And so the reason I mention this is I just completed PI Protect's new 2021 training.
Me too. I just finished it this morning as well. Yeah, I did.
Great. So every year, most platforms, including this one, puts out a new set of videos, and those new sets of videos address, the new concerns that are out there. And so even if your team has already done this training last year, you really want to encourage them to do the new training this year. Mm-hmm. And I do like this new training, Chad. I don't know what you thought about it, but it was faster. It was only half an hour. I think it was very well presented.
The core types of issues that we see in the wild, which I liked a lot, right? With the business email compromise, and phishing is still the biggest bane of everyone's existence. I liked a lot of like SLAM and some of these acronyms that were easy to remember. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I can't say this enough. If you're not currently doing anything like this at your organization, contact us so we can help you get started. This is like a bare minimum.
It's the most important too. I mean, I you're sick of hearing me say it. I wish there was a technology that would solve all these problems, but education is our greatest defense. It's our best weapon against these criminals. And if you're not doing anything to educate your folks, you think, oh, they know it and they read the internet and they're on Twitter. They're not getting this information. And it's important to make sure they get it at least a couple times a year, because it changes a lot.
Right. So take that quiz if you haven't. Make sure this is part of your onboarding process and part of your culture. Really, just your company culture should be that everyone is up to date on this. So I wanted to make everyone aware of that. And what I'm showing you here is from our Forget Computers knowledge base. So if you go to our help center, support.forgetcomputers.com, and it looks like it's in our resilience category. So if we go here, we've got a few items, including, let's see, manager guide, security awareness education. That's for managers. Okay, user guide. This is the one I was looking at. User guide, security awareness education. And it just walks you through, how to log in and the 3 steps you need to do to complete the training. I'll take a look at this, see if it's changed at all since the updated training, but I don't think so. I do know PII is coming out with a new interface that we have early access to. Looks a lot better than their old interface. But the videos are really the most important, and they've really done a great job of updating these videos.
The production values are improved, and I think it's a little friendlier for folks and for organizations, and for me, selfishly, the biggest value in this is the analytics, right? So the one of the things that's really excellent about a tool like PII Protect is we can measure, is what we're doing working? Are we educating folks on things that are relevant to the organization and to themselves as individuals? Is it interesting? Are they doing it? If we're not getting, people participating, then we know we have to engage with them more. So it gives us some feedback on a lot of really important things.
That's a good point, Chad. The PII Protect is not just a series of videos. It's a way for your organization to validate that your team is participating. And if you ever have to sit through an audit, and Chad and I have sat through many for good and bad reasons, for proactive reasons and reactive reasons. But if you have to sit through a security audit, you're going to want to show them, yes, this is what we do to protect our team. And you can see everyone here has completed the training or is scheduled to complete the training if they just got hired.
And it feels great. It feels great to be able to, share this, as demonstrative evidence that you're at least trying,
Mm-hmm.
to educate people. And that's what compliance is all about. That's the essence of it, is building something that doesn't just have value for your clients that are coming to you and to accept their risk, on their behalf, but for you to actually get some value out of this for your organization to help minimize your risk, right? So that's important.
Yeah.
It probably can't be overstated, but it's an easy thing to put in place. It can be done very quickly, and then it's just really culture. It's behavior, shaping good habits.
Chad, I just read something that sort of spoke to me, and that is the phrase "ignored risk." So if you're an organization today that is not doing anything to protect your team or any security awareness training, then that is ignored risk. You know about it, you are choosing to ignore it. So that's I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that, but it's not that hard. You really should do it.
Let's hope 2021 is a year of a lot more of us, really kind of taking control, or even just gently taking the reins of control for a change, and owning our data, and our liabilities and our risks and our triumphs, because implementing a simple thing like this is a triumph, and it should be celebrated, and it makes people feel good. It makes us feel like we have a sense of confidence that we can do something in the midst of there's so much uncertainty out there right now, and anything we can do to minimize our anxiety and feel like we're moving forward is definitely worthwhile.
So moving on, thank you, Chad. Moving on, I want to mention Mac OS Big Sur. We've talked about this in the past. We've talked about how we don't currently recommend it. In fact, the only reason really today to be running Big Sur is if you bought a new computer that shipped with Big Sur. Then you have to run Big Sur. And what do I mean by Big Sur? I mean Mac OS Big Sur version 11. You can see I'm not yet running it. Now,
so we definitely whatever.
Yeah, I'm running 10.15.7. That's the latest version that we would recommend anyone run.
If you're running Big Sur, it'll say version, like I don't know if you can zoom in on that version number, but the version that we're under Mac OS Catalina, it would say version 11.1. Is that what the first version is? We're not at 11.0, right? Did we put that to rest?
I think it's 11. I think it is 11.1. So Apple did come out with an update, a patch. So that's progress. And the holidays are behind us now. So we do eventually want to get to a point very soon where we are running Big Sur. In fact, I was going to update to Big Sur this past weekend because I had time, and Ross and I are still working on the process to make that seamless and easy. And we ran into an issue specific to my machine, but it might affect other people. And that is that we knew that Big Sur needed at least 38 gigabytes free of hard drive space. We know that. It's a big download. It needs room to download. It needs room to expand. It needs room to run and then delete itself, clean itself up. And if I look at my Mac under storage, I have 82 gigs available. So that should be enough. But the problem I was running into is when it was actually time to execute, the error message would come up and say, you need an additional 36 gigabytes of data to do this. So I think my theory, and I could be completely wrong because we haven't even dove into this yet, my theory is that because I'm using iCloud storage, an iCloud drive, there's some discrepancy between what I really have and what it's seen. And for whatever reason, it didn't think I had enough space. So we're investigating that, but that's just another reason why don't go to Big Sur just yet until some of these bugs are worked out. There's really no rush or business use case to do it unless, like I said, you get a new machine. It's gonna come with Big Sur. There's no going back. So one of the things that we've run into is, despite the fact that a lot of companies have not yet certified Big Sur for use in their organization. If you were to go to, clicked the wrong one. If you were to go to system preferences and software updates, you might see a Big Sur banner. In fact, here's what it typically looks like. This Mac OS Big Sur 11.1. That is the latest version. And this is causing mass confusion for people because we're telling them don't do this yet. Apple's telling them do this. We're saying only apply updates. Apple's presenting an upgrade in an update window is just really frustrating. So we
And to be
were able to.
clear, you put the before in there. That's not a
I
part
put the
of that
before
for
in
most
there. This is
people.
my
Yeah.
screen grab. Thank you,
Yeah.
Chad.
Yeah.
This is my screen grab. I had to do it before because I didn't have. I can't switch back and forth, but this is the after, and there's another view of it right here after. So our team was able to figure out how we can hide that banner. It's a bit of a hack, but it does work, and it's an elegant solution. It means you are no longer going to get prompted for something that you're not ready for, and when you are ready, we'll remove the what's stopping this from displaying, and you'll go from your Mac is up to date to let's go to Big Sur.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So I really like this. Kudos to Ross for working on this and figuring it out, and shame on Apple for not giving us an easy button to do that sooner.
Yeah. After how many versions?
Yeah. Any
how
questions
many
about that?
this? Yeah.
Before I move on?
I'm not seeing any.
I'm just barreling through here, so you stop me if I'm not making any sense. The last thing I want to touch on is Visionbot, and this is a demo area of Visionbot. And if I'm speaking to our primary contacts here, our primary contacts at our client organizations. If you don't have access to Visionbot, let us know so we can get you into Visionbot, because it's super helpful to have additional, eyes on the data. There's a ton of data that mobile device management software collects, and this is just a slice of it. This is what we consider to be the most important, piece of this. Our team uses this on a daily basis to keep track of devices and to help people on the support desk, and to run reports and help guide people on how, help guide our clients on how to make business decisions with their technology. But we want you to be involved too. We want you to take a look at this and ask questions.
We need you to be involved.
We need you. Yeah,
we do. And in the age of so much buzzing about artificial intelligence and machine learning, and I know like my colleagues that are in security and resilience are buzzing about all of this. Automation can only do so much. We're still in the early infancy of all that, and so there's still value to manually just taking a glance. It doesn't mean we have to spend a lot of time, but if we need to spend 5 minutes, every few days, checking in on a tool like this, it provides incredible value very quickly. So it's really, really worthwhile to get familiar with this if you're not.
And most all of our innovation that gets put in the Visionbot comes from clients asking questions.
Yep. It's a huge point. Yep.
And so they ask
that way.
Yeah, they ask the questions, and it's either there, or we make adjustments and build it in, or we figure out another way. But I want to show you some new features. And first of all, this one is not quite brand new, but we made some adjustments to it. This is the security area, the endpoint protection area.
It's great.
Basically, if you go into your Visionbot and you don't see anything under endpoint protection, that means either you're not running any endpoint protection or we're not aware of it. And if we're not aware of it, I'd like to be aware of it so we can build it in here. The challenge with endpoint protection is it often doesn't show up as an application. So if you were to go into applications, 9 times out of 10, any type of endpoint protection software does not show up as an application. So it's really difficult to know at a glance if you're running endpoint protection. So what we've been doing is building some what they call facts or smart facts. Used to be called extension attributes. It's basically a custom field where it looks to see if your machine is running X, Y, or Z, yes or no. And in this case, we run Malwarebytes, and this is the version we're currently running. You may be running CrowdStrike, OpenDNS, Cylance, SentinelOne. We keep building this library of tools. You may even have multiple tools on your machine. But if you don't see anything under there, let us know so we can figure out if we're missing it or if you don't have anything at all. And Chad, I don't know, we used to kind of, for years and years and years, ignore what used to be called antivirus on the Mac, but that's really changed recently. I don't know if you can speak to that.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I mean, it's changed. It's about to change again. too, right? Because back in the early days of PowerPC, architecture, the chips that Macs ran on were made by Motorola, and they were called PowerPC or PPC, and Macs were completely out of the sphere of malware and a lot of the stuff that's impacting productivity today. And when they moved to the Intel platform, that's when things got a little more challenging, because now you have Windows, PCs are on Intel architectures, and now Macs are too. But just for a little while longer, like they're not even making, I don't know how much more Intel machines they're going to make, but once everything shifts over to M1 and the T2 chips,
Mm-hmm.
everything's going to be different. And so there will be another period of hopefully, refuge from all of this. But in the meantime, we're just as vulnerable on our Macs as PCs are. So endpoint protection is the new kind of antivirus, and it's essential.
Yeah. And I must admit, for a long time, I was very skeptical of running endpoint protection, mostly because of the history of the Norton antivirus, which would cripple a machine, at least on a Mac, over the years, and nobody liked it. We got away from it. Didn't think we needed it. Endpoint protection, advanced endpoint protection is what they often call it, came around. We did a ton of testing, ended up with Malwarebytes. And I think I would say every single time we roll out Malwarebytes at a location, it finds stuff that needs to be cleaned up. And once it's cleaned up, it keeps looking for it. And we do, occasionally get alerts that people have stuff because they clicked something, because they allowed something to be installed on their machine. And none of it is, I won't say none of it, but a lot of it is nothing that is bad as what you maybe hear about on the Windows side, but it's still going to slow down your computer. It's still potential for threats, whether it's ransomware or just bad actors getting access to your machine. So I've been convinced through data that we do need this stuff.
Yeah, you do.
So unfortunately. Okay, so that's one area I want to point everyone to. And then going back to this area where we have device report, and I've narrowed it in this example to just the Macs. I'm ignoring iOS, I'm ignoring other. Those are either Windows or VMs, virtual machines. So just looking at the Macs, we did an adjustment to the device report. We added a column called enabled users. And you've heard us talk about this before. In fact, you can see it right here. Security is File Vault on or off. Here it's off. Are some users enabled or all users enabled? And why is that important? It's important because you can have your machines encrypted. Here's a good example. This machine is showing up as encrypted, but only some users can decrypt it. And this is where a lot of companies get into problems. Maybe the one person that can decrypt that Mac leaves the company, and now that Mac is
unusable.
is useless.
The hockey puck.
Yeah, it's useless. So
until that's resolved.
So all users means we should be able to decrypt it, or your internal IT team should be able to decrypt it. More than one person, more than one administrator should be able to decrypt it in case something happens to that one person or that one account. I mean, this stuff is not foolproof.
Yeah.
And if the device or the account that has the keys, breaks in some way, and now we can't get into that computer, we just need to have an alternative. So that's why it's super important. And this is a good example of something that has over the years become more and more of an issue. And we needed a way to identify it, and we needed a way to quickly identify who we need to focus on. So we'll be working through this the next several months. Now that we have this easily identified, we'll be asking you to help us. If you see machines that are not encrypted and only have some users have access to decrypting it, please let us know. We do recommend encryption for almost all machines today. The exceptions would be servers. We still have a few servers out there. Those tend to not be encrypted. Yeah. Or any old machine that's running a non-SSD hard drive.
Yeah, the
That's
old spinning
typically,
disk ones.
yeah.
Yeah, they tend to be it impacts their performance in ways that it's really hard to accept. So it's a trade-off. The solution is upgrading, getting rid of old machines, because if they can't support encryption, they're probably nearing end of life anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. If they can't support encryption, you probably should replace them. I mean, there might be an exception here or there. And even the Mac OS 10 servers or Mac servers, we've been working for the last several years to retire Mac servers. I don't think there's a really strong. There are a few use cases where you need a Mac server, but that's a case by case situation. Most people should not be using a Mac server today. If you're still running a Mac server, talk to us. We can help you plan for the alternative, which is typically going to be a cloud-based solution or some type of hybrid if you really need something local.
You can run it on a Mac still if you need to. It makes more sense to get it off-site for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. I'm oversimplifying things. We could talk for a whole hour or more about Mac servers.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing I want to share is we also updated our app report. So if you click on app report, we added Acrobat to the Adobe list. We currently had Creative Suite, or previously had Creative Suite. We added Acrobat Reader, which a lot of people think is part of Creative Suite, but it's really still an outlier. We added Reader, and then we added this other area. Currently contains Firefox and Chrome. And the reason we did this is these are the most common areas that need to be focused on for patching or security patching. So Firefox and Chrome get a lot of security patches, as does Adobe Acrobat Reader, both the standalone version, I think the free version, and then the newer DC version. They've changed their names. I can't even keep up with what I may have said that incorrectly. But the way to use this tool in your organization is if you are concerned about the status of software. I can go here and narrow this down to DC. Okay, so who's running Acrobat Reader DC and what version are they on? And we can see here, it looks like everyone's running the exact same version. This one's slightly behind 6.4 versus 7.4. That may not be a big deal, but sometimes we have projects or initiatives to get everyone on the same page. And
a lot of collaboration breaks when they're not on the same version, right? That's the issues that we see.
Yeah, that's a good point. From a collaboration, from a team standpoint, you really do want to have everyone on the same version. And this is a demo area, and we're not Acrobat users, so these are really just examples. And I couldn't even tell you who on the team uses Firefox versus Chrome. I myself have tried to give up Chrome. I do kind of use them all. I kind of use them all.
Yeah, we kind of do have to. Just to be fluent. And also, it's kind of like Milk. Last year Milk was good for us. This year it's not. That's kind of the browser scene. The browser scene is kind of like that. It's like this year's Firefox is great, and nobody likes Brave anymore. And now Chrome, watch out for this. And it's tough, and it does change.
I even added a new browser to my list, that's right. And that's Microsoft Edge.
Yeah, it's pretty snappy.
Yeah, I dedicated Office 365 apps to Edge. Of course, if you are a Google shop, I would use Google for your Google email and docs.
That's a good point.
I try to live in Safari, but sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not great.
For Apple stuff, it's great. For Microsoft stuff, Edge is awesome. For Google stuff, Chrome is awesome. It's that's why you kind of have to have them all. And all of us have probably been in a situation where we're trying to make a purchase or make a reservation or something, and it's not working. And we have to sometimes you get on with their help desk and they'll say, "What have you tried it in another browser?" And some sites are clear about the browsers that they support specifically. Some are not. But the browser wars, man, exhausting.
Yeah. It's still there. Everyone needs multiple browsers, and Firefox is another alternative. I was just going to mention here just another way to use this tool. I narrowed this down to Chrome, and I can see almost everyone is running pretty much 87, and then you can go all the way out. You see a few variations. A few devices do not have Chrome on them at all in this case, and then one has an outdated version. Now, I'm pretty sure, because this is called spare, if I go in here, yeah, I can see the last check-in, April 19th. So this is probably in here just for historical reference and demoing purposes. But if this was a concern, we'd want to boot this up and get it patched and up to date before giving it to someone, because that's a pretty out of date version of Chrome. When you say, Chad.
Yeah, and Chrome is it's kind of important to keep browsers up to date, because it's a very common. It's possible to have an issue just visiting a website, right? Mm-hmm. Have a criminal get access to our computer just by visiting a website. Right. And so it's really important to keep the browsers up to date for that reason, because endpoint protection, all these other tools are not a guarantee. We have to kind of have this whole defense in depth model we talk about a lot, right? So keeping browsers up to date should be a priority for us all. It is for us, for sure. But I'm speaking now about like your personal devices, right? The personal devices that you have, for those might be listening to this later, that we don't manage that stuff. That's up to you. And it's really a big risk reducer to keep everything updated.
Right. And that reminds me, I don't think I made it clear. If your machine is in our system, it should be getting updates for Google Chrome, for Firefox, for Acrobat. But there are always reasons why the updates may not be there, and that's why we have this tool to audit and verify, trust but verify, and then sometimes we need to dig deeper as to why that is the case. And then we can also download this as a CSV file and share it or do what we need with it for reporting. But that's everything useful. I wanted to talk about today. I also want to mention we'll be back in 2 weeks, and we might in 2 weeks have a new platform. We're going to try to improve this a little bit, this live stream, and maybe open it up to a broader audience. We're going to move to an Ntiva system. Possibly, we're still looking at that. But just a heads up, I'll let everyone know if the platform changes. Of course, it'll just be a different URL or link. But I appreciate everyone listening and watching, joining us. Before we close out, Michelle, do we have any questions? I know sometimes we do.
No, we don't have any.
No questions today. Okay. Well, welcome back to 2021. I'll get this posted as soon as we can, along with the one we did 2 weeks ago. Well, I don't think we ever posted that. The holidays got in the way. So, okay. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.